Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant and welcome back for more of Let's Play. I'm not going to be procrastinating the Goldenrod City Radio Tower any longer. Let's go fight Team Rocket again! But first I have to go get Duster again! I also want to head over to the department store really quick to grab a couple of technical machines. Which floor is it on again? I think it's the 5th. Yeah, it's the 5th floor. I mentioned when we were last here that I wouldn't be buying too many quote-unquote game-breaking technical machines because I didn't want to break the game or have a move that was much more powerful than I should have had at this point. But I think we're just about at the point where I don't mind blowing some money on technical machines, so let me think about what I want to buy here. I know one I definitely want to buy here is TM38. And I wanna... If I could, I'd use 52, but I don't think I have anyone that could make good use of it. Now, TM38, as I mentioned when we were first here, is Fire Blast, and unlike Thunder and Blizzard, its accuracy is 85 as opposed to 70. So it's really a good move to have if you can stand the 85 accuracy, and it's infinitely better than Ember, which is on Lupus right now, 3 times as powerful. However, I do not plan to stick with Fire Blast for the entirety of the game. He will eventually learn a less powerful move that hits 100% of the time that I'll replace Fire Blast with, which is why I'm not going to be wasting my PP ups on Fire Blast. But, you know, it's good to have at least until that point, because he's not going to learn that move for a very long time, unless I spend all the coins that I earned in the game corner on that TM, and I don't really feel like doing that right now. Could have also gotten him the Solar Beam TM now that I think about it, but I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I want to give him Solar Beam, at least not until we get another TM. Well, wait, did they take over the radio tower or the whole freaking city? I get the feeling they took over the whole freaking... Oh, you're the guy that was standing here before! And he doesn't say anything different. This isn't the Goldenrod City music, what's going on? Why don't you just leave? I mean, they're not holding you against your will, the lottery corner ladies ran off. Why do you... What? This wasn't here in the original game. Nobody was blocking our way into the radio tower. Why can't we just go in? Well, it's a good thing we had a great Goldenrod City tour the first time we were here, because we now know where we can get one such uniform. So I'll just hop on my bicycle really quick and we'll head over to the underground and waste no time getting that uniform. I mean, stealing that uniform, because we're Team Rocket. We can do mean things. It's so funny how this is actually relevant. And this is the only time in the main game where you actually get to wear clothes that make you look different! You can later on, like at the Pokeathlon Dome, but it's completely optional. And don't tell me I can't walk up the stairs, you fake 3D graphics. But now that we have this cool Team Rocket looking uniform, and I'd really like to get a reaction out of Duster that says something about the fact that I'm not wearing my usual clothing. It doesn't look like we are. Maybe when we get into the radio tower. I kind of don't want to miss that text, because this is the only time you can get it. Please say something about my uniform, Duster. 2 more times I'll say it, please. I guess he's not going to do it. Oh well. So we miss out on that, but I don't think anybody's going to lose any sleep over it. How do you put a season in a fashion case? Oh well. Let me in, please. I'm obviously with you. Because I stole somebody else's uniform. You're actually going to let me go. That was easier than I thought it would. Why am I not surprised? You don't recognize me! You should know better than that. I don't need to look like a Team Rocket member to be stronger than them. You see what you did, Snicker? Why don't you battle this idiot? He's not worth my time. Maybe he's worth yours. But unlike the trainers that we fought in the Rocket headquarters, these guys are actually about on our level, or where we should be. Whereas before, I think we could have tackled that area before we went to Olivine and Cianwood. By this point, they expect us to have already gone through all of those things, so we're about where we should be, level-wise. And that's going to make this area at least a little bit interesting, perhaps, maybe, kinda, possibly. Now Sucker Punch, Dark-type move, priority. If your opponent is going to be attacking you on the next turn, Sucker Punch always goes first, otherwise it fails. Unfortunately, HC Beetle can take Dark-type moves all day. The Sucker Punch is one of those moves that certain Pokemon that you wouldn't think should be able to punch are able to use. We'll get more into that as they come off. Of course I was trying to be sneaky. He wouldn't let me in any other way. What did you expect me to do? Good luck with that. I'm honestly surprised he didn't Hyper Beam the face off of your skull or something. That is a good question. Why would they want to take over the radio tower? Now, again, this is a place where they force you to go into either 1 or 2 battles. You can skip one of them if you like. I'm not going to be skipping any battles because I could really use the experience. But it was unusually easy for Team Rocket to take over the radio tower, especially given the fact that they only had about 15 minutes or so after the point when I shooed them away from their headquarters. You would think that if I ran them out of their headquarters, that they wouldn't be able to put together an all-out assault on a radio tower immediately afterwards, unless they were already planning it, but I somehow get the feeling that Team Rocket, given how dispersed they were after being disbanded at the end of the first generation, that they wouldn't be able to put together an army so vast so quickly, let alone the fact that they were able to increase their numbers and their strength between now and when we ran them out of the headquarters. But Duster wants to learn Rest, which we already have the technical machine for. You'll go to sleep for 2 turns, but it completely heals you of any status problem and all of your HP. Wouldn't be too bad to have Overcut, but we can't forget HM moves, so I think I'll skip on Rest for now. Generally not the best thing to have in the single-player mode because you can heal those things off with healing items as opposed to having to wait for the 2 turns of sleep. But to each his own, I suppose. We kind of have to get somebody else out in front because Duster's already level 32 and nobody else is yet. So let's spread the love around again. But since we're going to be having so many battles with Team Rocket, I figured now is as good a time as any for me to... especially considering this guy has nothing but Rattatas. Now would probably be the best time for me to talk about my opinions on Team Rocket and the other evil organizations in Pokemon games. And I suppose there's only so much you can say about Team Rocket that either hasn't already been said, or that you can say without sounding completely stupid about it. Because you have to figure Team Rocket was the big bad organization in the early years of Pokemon, so you kind of had to cut them some slack for including them in both of the first 2 games. And handling the fact that they were actually disbanded at the end of the first one and they're actually trying to come back together here, I think they did that relatively well, considering how you don't get the sense that these guys are very well organized on their own. You can feel just by how they're acting, how they're going about their business, how they're trying to accomplish taking over the, well, like, run the Slowpoke well, cutting off their tails, evolving all the Magikarp in the lake, and, I mean, you can tell they're kind of scatterbrained, trying to, every little thing they can possibly think of to bring back their great leader Giovanni and convince him that Team Rocket isn't dead. I think they did a really nice job with doing that, even though I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I would have liked them to have some other organization than Team Rocket in the second generation, but I can understand why they did it the way they did. Hey, look, it's Buena and her attendant! How you doing, Buena? Okay, help everybody! Do I get my blue points? You know what, now I'm curious what you say if I call you now, because you are not exactly on your show. You have plenty of time to talk with me. Like I said, I love the attention to detail here, because you would think, who in their right mind would have already gone through 30 days of Buena's passwords to have her phone number by the time you get to the radio tower? But I just love how they did that. Anyway, moving on. Third generation, Team Aqua, Team Magma. Like I said, my interest in Pokemon waned after the second generation, so I don't know very much about them, except for having gone through the game once or twice. They're just stupid. I don't know how else to say it, or of any nicer ways to put it. They're just stupid. Don't get me wrong, I like the premise behind the legendaries being based on, you know, the formation of the planet, land versus ocean, that kind of stuff. I found that really interesting. I just thought both sides were incredibly stupid, because they were either going to envelop the entire planet in lava and kill everyone, or envelop the entire planet in water and drown everyone. It made no sense either way. Even if they thought they could control Groudon and Kyogre, you had to figure it wasn't going to end very well. Like, they had no idea what they were doing or what they were getting themselves into. It just didn't make any sense. I did like the idea, though. It was there. It just wasn't executed very well. Then you move on to the fourth generation, and I almost called them Team Plasma. Team Galactic. Now, whereas Team Aqua and Team Aqua were just stupid in terms of what their goals were, Team Galactic is just stupid. Whereas most of the people that were involved with them had no idea what their goals were. At all. They were just there for the haircut, I suppose, which makes even less sense because it's disgusting. But, I mean, their hairstyle is a whole other thing. Most of the grunts in Team Galactic had no idea what they were doing or why they were doing it. They were just there because they could be, and because they thought it was cool for some reason, but they had no idea what they were doing. Of course, his leader, and I'm not going to get into spoilers, he knew exactly what he was doing. And of course, he was silly to think that he could control the legendary, but at least he had some idea what he was doing, even if his underlings were incredibly stupid. In fact, if you're running an evil organization, you want to try to get as many strong and stupid people as possible, because they're very easy to manipulate to do what you want. Because they don't think! And I suppose that's what they were going for with Team Galactic, but I just think it's a bit of an insult to think that everyone is completely stupid and will go along with whatever you want. I mean, you can always find people like that. I just think it's insulting when every other battle you encounter is somebody who has no idea what they're doing, because it makes you It gives you the idea or the impression that most of the people in these Pokemon games don't think for themselves. And it's a little bit demeaning. Just a little bit. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Then you move on to the 5th generation, Team Plasma. And although there's a lot of that, I do like the fact that the premise for Team Plasma is actually benevolent, as opposed to in other games when they're either trying to take over the world or destroy the world. For tradition, I suppose. I do like that most of them really believed in what they were doing, that they wanted to free Pokemon, and although they weren't doing it necessarily in a way that made sense, the idea was there. They wanted to free their Pokemon, and if they had to do it through violence, so be it. It's not like we haven't been doing similar things for the last few thousand years, killing in the name of religion and all of that fun stuff. I just like how they gave the story a little bit more depth. That they made you think about what it was you were actually doing in Pokemon games. Maybe the Pokemon don't like you. Maybe they don't like battling tooth and nail to kill each other. It was an issue that I'm sure was addressed before, it just wasn't addressed the same way. It wasn't addressed as thoroughly. And I think I'll switch the experience share between Crunch and Klaus. Because Klaus is level 30, and although he's probably going to be getting the most screen time here, given... I don't know, I guess I'll bring him in a little bit later on, but for now he's kind of just going to be sitting there, because I want to give everybody else some time. This Team Rocket is known for having poison types, and poison types are known for being weak to Psychic. But I really do like how they went about Team Plasma, and just the entire 5th generation. I really like how they went about it. And if I was going to tell a friend who had never played a Pokemon game before which Pokemon games to play first, I would recommend Black and White. But that's not to say that I think Black and White are my favorite. Because the first 2 generations, even though the first one had some really bad, or really exploitable mechanics, it always has that little bit of nostalgia that makes you really want to play it through again. That you can't necessarily explain in any other words than nostalgic. They just bring back so many good memories. I mean, there's one particular item that you don't get in this game until the very, very end that changes all of the background music to its original gold, silver, crystal music. And I have to say, putting in little things like that that are throwbacks to the old games, they just mean so much, and you can't really explain it until you experience it yourself. But the nostalgia definitely has some level of impact on you, whether or not you want to concede that it's actually there. Now, I'm not sure if a Dark Pulse will KO this thing in one hit. I'm pretty sure it will, but I'm gonna go for overkill with the Fire Blast. And of course it misses the first time I use it! Of course! Base 120 with Stab and Charcoal boosted. Of course it misses the first time I try it. I love the animation too, the 5 spouts of fire jutting out from where you actually make contact with it. So satisfying to see. But it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get any further up the radio tower on this side to get to the leader of Team Rocket, who's supposedly the team, I suppose, leader. But we can't go up there without the card key. We can't continue going up this way, I just don't think we have time for it, because we've already gone on for 20 minutes, so... Next time, we'll continue through the Goldenrod City Radio Tower and see if we can expel Team Rocket. See you then.